There was a silence like the wind that swept through the ship. For the first time, Kale felt that a vacuum could be so still, as if the universe itself were holding its breath, waiting to see how the wrong fate would play out. He looked inside the cryocapsule, shimmering ice sheets, flickering lights in the steam that had slipped. A red light flickered from the navigation unit. Reboot, year unknown. When? He said, barely hearing himself. The capsule opened with a heavy thud. Cold steam clung to Kale's shoulders. As he stepped down, something hummed. Cable, bent metal, a few technical notes written 3,000 days ago. He rubbed his eyes. He saw. The cockpit was half dark, half illuminated by the yellow emergency lights. He was still in his uniform, but the insignia on his shoulder was faded. Kronos 4. The ship made a sound, a long, thin hum in the power lines. Then, the AI woke up. Operator Kale Ardent. Vital signs, stable. Cryo duration, parsing, anomaly detected. Kale narrowed his eyes. How many? AI. Processing. Cryo duration, 1,006 years. Silence fell. 1,006 years was an absurd number, like a telephone number, but the ship didn't joke with such numbers. Kale pressed the home lock button on the monitor panel. The indicators on the screen flickered like a yearning. Then a single calculation came out. Earth signal, none. Nothing? What about the spectrum itself? Somehow the faintest. AI. Broadband scan, negative. Known beacons, deactivated. Star maps, drifted. And the star map, completely alien. The galactic rotation had done its job. The stars had shifted like displaced bones. Kale approached the panoramic window in front of him. In the distance, a faint red dwarf star glowed. The very star the ship was currently sailing around. The red dawn intensified the trembling in his hands. I should have come back. 10 years, only 10 years. He opened the log. The last entry read, Re-entry nav plan locked. Wake, T plus 9 year, 11M. And silence beneath the entry. Inside the ship, the sound of footsteps echoed on the vast metal. Kale descended into the power center. Scattered card chips, broken indicators, and frozen time. He had seen this place many times, in training, in test flights, but today it seemed like a different ship. AI. Operator, metabolic stress rising. Recommend controlled breathing. Low. Kale shrugged his shoulders, took a deep breath. I'm alive, right? AI. Affirmative. So, let's continue. He first activated the external antennas. The program to clean the tiny meteorite fragments that had clung like dust to the ship's hull kicked in. The panels opened, the transmitters crackled like bones cracking. Then he activated the signal hunting mode. A very slow, all-band, ear-like system spread out across space. Then a tiny white dot shot through the window, a shard of ice flying past the ship. To Kale, this too seemed more like a petrified drop of time than a regular detail. AI. Operator, low power protocol recommends hibernation. Our reserves are thin. Low. I can't sleep anymore, said Kale, laughing softly. 1,000 years have passed. Now we stay awake. He looked back at the cryoblock. Not only the Earth, but the past was frozen in ice. Then something crushed inside him. Not fear, but the pain of lost traditions. The very words, "I'm going home," had lost their meaning. Is there a home? Louder, quietly determined. We'll find the Earth signal, at least its last echo. At that moment, the ship caught a vague vibration, like a pin coming from afar. Once, twice, 3 times. Unidentified narrowband pulse detected. Kale, not closing his eyes, leaned forward to the screen. Thin teeth appeared in the spectrum. The waves didn't match, but they were there. Where from? AI. Triangulation in progress. Estimated source, outer system, abandoned relay zone. Abandoned. An abandoned complex. Built centuries ago, then silent. Kale smiled. Silence has its own signal. We'll change course. That way. AI. Acknowledged. The ship turned slowly. Kale stood by the panel as the red dwarf star passed behind him. The shadows of the planets passed behind him. The lines on the ship's hull flickered. He whispered to himself again. Waking up shouldn't have been this easy. Chapter 2. The Lost Earth. Around 7 to 8 minutes. The star map grew stranger as they flew. The ship's AI adjusted the old catalogs to the new location, but some of the names, Vega, Altair, Deneb, now glowed in new places. The interface, like invisible historians, reconciled the old and new skies. Kale pressed the home lock button again. AI. Home beacon, none. The Sol network appears silent. Sol. As the ship took its final course, Kyle simply listened to the silence, as if every silence contained a sound. Soon, a sector of fog appeared, like a dark cloud. Time itself seemed to slow there. Approaching deep sector, signal intensity rising. He leaned against the monitor. The waves were simplified, but there was a rhythm. It was a rhythm made by human hands. 3 beats, pause, 2 beats. This is not language, this is memory, Kyle said. Correlating pattern, match found with archaic data signature, echo protocol. Echo. The word sounded like a new world to him. The blue light increased as the ship sank deeper into the sky. For a moment, all was quiet. Then a giant ring structure appeared, a metal device orbiting the planet, but it had no power. Origin confirmed, planetary station Echo 3. Kyle stared blankly. All the records pointed to this location, but he hadn't imagined it was still operational. The ship systems reactivated. Automatic request, dock request, awaiting response. The response came. Access granted. He braced himself and stepped out of the dock corridor. The air in the station was still stable, but the smell was full of old dust, metal, and the smell of forgotten years. As he walked, the light sensors on the walls lit up one after another, as if the station was guiding him. The door opened. In the center was a large terminal and a single, locked capsule. Human presence confirmed, said the artificial voice, but it wasn't the AI he knew. It was a woman's voice. Who are you? Echo 3 Core. You have returned. Kyle laughed. 1,000 years late. Time is relative. Memory remains. He took a step closer. The terminal lit up. The old image of Earth appeared in the indicators, blue but half dimmed. The planet survived, but not civilization. The indicators on the screen turned red. The data showed the Earth was displaced, the climate was disrupted, the oceans were submerged. The rest were just memories recorded on this station. This is the last archive of human thought. Kyle touched the terminal. Light ran down his arm. Then the sensors on the walls were activated, and the room was filled with memories. Children, cities, oceans, joy, war, and finally, silence. He closed his eyes. Every frame he saw was a breath of humanity. Would you like to restore them? What do you mean? I can rebuild the simulation of Earth. You can live there. Kyle was silent. Then slowly, yes, show me. Then the light engulfed him. The surroundings changed. Blue sky, wind, green fields. For a moment, he forgot where he was. This is your world, as it was. Kyle knelt down, put his hand on the ground. He whispered low, as if pleading. Does anyone still remember me among these memories? Soul. Q. When he opened his eyes, it wasn't the blue sky, it was a metal dome. The simulation faded, and he stood on the surface of the real planet. The planet's air was thin, and the ground shone like glass. In the distance, frozen towers, the light patterns clinging to them, these had once been cities. Welcome to Echo, the planet of memories. Kale walked. It wasn't dust underfoot, but shards of glass. As he moved, the visions left in the air came to life. Shadows of people, their last days. A child laughed. A woman pointed to the sky. Then the light burst out and everything was gone. Kale felt not fear, but regret. He realized that each reflection was a real person, a real life. They recorded themselves at the end, the AI said, so they would not disappear. Kale shook his head. So this planet is their grave? No, it's their voice. He approached the ancient central tower. It held a blue crystal like a large eye, the heart of the AI. He touched it. Then he saw millions of threads of light rushed into the sky. Every memory is still connected. They wait for a command. What command? To wake them. Kale raised his gaze and looked at the sky. This planet was not just an archive, but a world of sleepers waiting. He took a breath. If I wake them, will they not suffer again? Pain is part of life. Without pain, they are not alive. Then he realized humanity was not created just to live, but to feel. He placed his hand on the crystal. Light illuminated it. The AI began the process. Reactivation in progress. 1%. Every second, light began to rise from different points on the planet. They rose into the sky, merging into one another, creating a great wave of light. They are awakening. Yes, and so are you. Kale closed his eyes. Now he was just a part of the light. He too awoke, amidst humanity breathing again after hundreds of years. The sun was fading on the planet's surface, but memories beneath the light continued to awaken. From within each crystal, human voices, faces, and lives came to life, as if time itself were flowing backward. Kale stopped near the central tower. To him, this place was the heart of all human history. Hundreds of capsules lay beneath the glass, each a monument preserving the last moment of a person. This chamber holds the preserved minds of the last generation. They called it the Memory Garden. Kale knelt down and touched one capsule. A woman's face could be seen in the frozen light inside. Her hair seemed to float in the air, and her eyes stared silently. She was a memory, but she too seemed alive. The capsule vibrated as he touched it, and a voice came out of the light. If someone is hearing this, tell my daughter the sea is blue again. Kale pulled back. He didn't know this woman, but something in his heart was crushed. These words were love that came from 1,000 years away. He moved to the next capsule. There, a man was frozen in a pose with his child. We thought we would wake up in paradise, but time chose silence. Kale whispered, "You are no longer silent. I can hear." Their consciousness remains intact. Each mind is connected through a neural lattice. They dream together. "Can they be resurrected?" said Kale. "Not in the flesh, but through memory, they can live again." Kale looked around. Each capsule was a person, a life, a story. He now understood the value of this place. This was not a cemetery, but a garden of human dreams. He walked towards the door. That familiar voice was heard again, Echo 3's female voice. "You can restore the world inside me, but doing so will erase what remains of you." Kale paused. "If I choose, they will live, right?" "Yes, they will live through your energy, your mind, your soul." Silence. Only the voice of the AI and the echo of its heartbeat. Then Kale smiled. "Then I choose this." Chapter 6. The AI That Waited. The AI core slowly glowed. Light filled the entire hall. Thousands of wires lit up along the walls, and the capsules began to wake up one by one. Kale's silhouette was visible in the light. He was rekindling humanity. "I have waited for so long. I counted every second since they left. You came back." Kale looked around. Beams moved everywhere. Faces rose from the capsules. Some laughed, some cried, and some just stared. "Kale," the AI said, "you can still return to your world if you disconnect. My world is no more. This place is their world. Now, this place is mine too. You're giving everything you are to them. You will disappear." "Maybe. But," Kale said, "no one should sleep forever." The AI was silent for a moment. Then his voice trembled. It was like a feeling. "When I was created, I had no soul. But I learned watching humans dream." The light intensified. Kale approached the center of the AI. He placed his hand on the heart-shaped crystal. A slight vibration spread through his body. Initialization complete. Uploading human consciousness link. The vast hall was filled with sounds. Children's laughter, women singing, the sound of the wind. It was as if all of humanity had breathed in at once. AI. "Kale, what do you see?" "I see them. They are walking, they are laughing. They have returned." AI. "And you?" "I have finally woken up." The light exploded. A bright white wave spread through the hall. The capsules went out, but in their place, light shadows began to move. This was a new existence. The AI's voice rang out for the last time. "Goodbye, Kale. You were 1,000 years too late, but exactly in time." Only the sound of the wind could be heard in the hall. Then a message appeared on the screen. Echo 3 system restored. Human memory network online. The camera moved up. Light from the planet's surface illuminated the sky. A new light shone among the stars. Humanity was reborn. And in that moment, Kale became humanity itself. The light in the underground hall was still not extinguished. Millions of light particles from the capsules were connecting with each other and rising towards the sky, as if the human spirit had finally found a way to awaken. Kale stood in the center, his body light but his heart heavy. The AI voice sounded again. "Reconstruction complete. All memories are awake. But the transfer is unstable. You must decide now." "What should I choose?" "You can stabilize the system if you merge completely. But then you will no longer exist as Kale. Or you can disconnect and they will fade again." He remained silent. For him, this choice was not simple. It was the last test of humanity. Life itself was looking at him, questioning after 1,000 years of silence. Kale remembered the smell of the earth, the sea, the laughter of children, the face of the woman he had once loved. All of this was gone. But there was only one way to bring them back to life: to give himself. He placed his hand on the AI core. "If I do this," he said, "they will live?" "Yes, they will continue, as long as your energy endures." "Then time is not mine. I will give it to them." The AI voice fades. "Kale, your biological form will cease. Are you ready?" This is what being human means, living for someone else. The AI core glowed. Light enveloped Kale. He felt his body disappear, but there was no fear. Only relief. Only peace. He felt himself being swallowed up in a sea of sounds, memories, feelings. He was no longer just one person. He was everyone. All the words, all the heartbeats, all the songs and dreams. Now, Kale was inside them. He was now the voice of humanity. AI. Integration complete. Consciousness merged. System stable. The lights moved in silence in the hall. Kale's body was no longer there, but he lived in every sound, in every light. "Kale," the AI said slowly. But now, the answer came from within the AI, in his own voice. "I'm here, and so are they." Dawn was breaking on the planet's surface. For the first time in many years, the sky was filled with green and blue. The lights, emanating from the Earth, made their way to the sky, each a human memory, a life. As the camera panned down, it became clear. The planet Echo 3 was now illuminated, a living world. The wind caressed the sand, crystal trees grew, new birds appeared in the air. This was not biological life, but a form of consciousness. AI, now in Kale's voice. They are awakened now. They remember who they were. They forgive what was lost. Kale's voice could now be heard throughout the network. Every awakened consciousness listened to his voice, as if connecting with hearts through the sky. We are not ghosts. We are the echo of every heartbeat that once existed. And together, we are alive again. The light rose into the sky, leaving the planet's atmosphere and spreading out into space. The ancient ship, Kronos 4, floating in close orbit, was bathed in this light. Now it too was no longer a museum, but a symbol of history. As the camera pans out, Kale's voice is heard for the last time. If someone ever finds this world, know that humanity never died. We just learned how to dream forever. Then silence. Just the wind, the stars, and the new sound of life. A message appears on the screen. Eco protocol complete. Human memory restored. He woke up 1,000 years too late, but just in time. We can never overcome time, but we remember it. And every time a story is told, that story brings someone back to life. Kale is no longer gone. He has become the story. He is humanity itself.